Hello, happy Tuesday. I hope that you had a great extended weekend. I definitely did. I was social. I saw two of my friends. We did plannings for trips that we have coming up. So it was a very exciting weekend. But I also was hungover yesterday. um, and so I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but that's okay. I'm happy that I got to hang out with my friends and get out of my apartment. So don't regret a second of it. But I wanted to really get into this video about how I do my planning for my businesses and basically like my check-ins to review where I've been this year, where I'm going, and set any goals that I have in mind. So typically I like to do this like quarterly, but this year I've been all over the place. So I know it's September, it's not the start of a quarter, but that's okay. I just needed to do it. I could feel that I needed to do it. It's been too long since I've done it. So I'm going to share with you a document that I received with a company that I was working with a little bit ago that helps like e-commerce brands get off the ground basically, and whatever. It was a really good experience actually. It's called I Am Fashion, and they cleared a lot of things in my head. It was actually really what I needed at the time. And anyway, I was with them for like a complete year, and they give you quite a few different tools, but this one I really clung on to. What they give you is very generic. It's like, excuse me, it's like, what you plan to make quarterly, some of your just like salary expenses, and like it's a very generic document that they give you, but I latched onto it and I have expanded it into a very detailed situation for myself. I take this document very seriously for both of my businesses, and honestly, like when I do these plannings, I make so many different versions of it. So typically I do like the year that I'm in and then also the next year, because that's how I like to plan. I don't know why. I like to think about the future a lot, and like and far further into the future, just to have an idea of where I want to go. And then it's also just good to look back on later on to see, have things gone as I planned and how far off are you. So I'm going to share this document with you guys, but just for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to tell you. So I have split it up. When I originally got it, it was in quarters. I have split it up to be a monthly situation because that's how my business works. And so literally every single month I have like, the document that I'm going to share is going to be very generic. These are not real numbers of what I'm using in any aspect, but I just want you guys to have access to this in case you want to use it, because I find it to be so helpful as someone who loves documents and numbers. But anyway, so I have it split up into what I plan to make for the business and then expenses. Like I said, I've gone nuts. I have really made this into exactly what I need for my businesses. This one that I'm going to share with you is just a generic one that I created for E27. And so basically I just have like production costs, salaries, insurance, which in this fake example, I don't have full-time employees, so I'm not going to have any insurance that I need to pay. Ads for my business, if I'm going to have an office or not, supplies, bills, promotional items, and then other. I always like to have an other because you never know. There's always going to be things that pop up, Like I said, this one's very generic, so basically for almost all of my expenses, it just says $100, just so you guys can kind of see what it looks like when you really have everything filled out. I was going to have it just blank, but it doesn't have the same effect when it's blank. So I just put 100 in all of the supplies, bills, all of that stuff, just so you can see. My business is about donations, so I have the 20% of my profits in there. And then I also have a space for bonuses, and then what the profit is after all of that, how much the taxes would be, which is also just kind of a generic number. I think I used 25%, and then how much I'm making after my taxes and how much my percentage profit is after all is said and done. So that's kind of how it's broken down for me. I have all of this worked out so that the numbers are like, all of it is, the formulas are worked out and whatever. Of course, if you plan to use this, please check it and make sure that everything looks right. But for the most part, it should be on point. So anyway, so I fill this form out. Like I said, typically it's quarterly. And then I just hide any of the old, like if it's, it's September now. So if I was looking at this for 2025, I would hide everything beforehand and just do planning for the rest of the year. And then I have a separate document that I use basically just for what I've actually sold in my business. Like sometimes I fill it in, but it just seems like a lot of work. I like to have a separate document of like actual figures versus my goal figures. So anyway, for me, I typically like to have like a set number that I'm looking at making for the year, like not in necessarily profits, just overall for my business. I set a number that I want to make and I just play with these numbers until those numbers make sense. And then I look at everything else, when I can hire a certain, person on my team, or, this is also a good time to like plan out if there's certain things you want to try in your business on certain months. And so you can say, okay, well, if I made, if I'm pushing out a certain campaign that's going to be brand new and I'm really excited about it, so I'm going to set higher ads for that campaign. And so I'm planning to make more money off of whatever I'm selling. Then you can like plan that out. Or if I just want to do something and I'm not sure yet, I still set that in there. And so after this document is done, okay, let's just say I filled out everything that I need to. All of my numbers are making sense. I'm making some kind of a profit every single month. All of the things look right. The next thing that I do is I work backwards. So then I go, okay, so for this month, what are the things that I need to do to meet this number that I've created for this month? And that's when the deep planning comes in. What are you going to do to make sure you make these numbers? What is it going to take to make sure that, you have the right staffing for those numbers? Like all of those little details, that's when I start to work backwards and say, okay, well, this month I'm taking it light because it's already September. So I'm not going to set a crazy goal because I haven't planned anything yet. But maybe next month I want to plan something really big to make sure that I get whatever profit and whatever the case may be, right? So then you start planning all of the things that you need to do based off of this financial plan that you've made for yourself. And these should all just be reflections of what's working and what's not in your business. And I have these conversations with myself all the time, what's working and what's not. Like if I have a bad week, I typically right then say, why was this week so bad and how can I help improve it so that next week's not a bad week, or next month's not a bad month, or whatever the case may be. Not all of the solutions can be immediate, but I'm constantly thinking of how do I improve what X, Y, and Z situation, So yeah, these plannings are like pretty in depth for me. I take the numbers very seriously, and then I take all of the steps that I'm going to do afterwards very seriously. So this weekend, I have completed these documents for the rest of this year, as well as a plan for 2026. And I typically create, when it comes to like the next year's, I like to dream big. So I have like my minimum amount that I want to make, and then I have like a big goal of like, oh, in my dream world, this is what it would look like. And I also just think if you're like a believer of manifestations and things, I also think it's just a good way to manifest what you want. Really diving into these numbers and looking realistically and saying, okay, well, if I was going to meet $1 million in this business, which is often a number that I have, next year, like what would my team look like? Who am I bringing on? What are my expenses? Where am I going to spend more money and where am I going to spend less money? For me, like for E27, I think about photo shoots and I want my photo shoots to get bigger and better. And I want it to be like almost an experience for me and for, the team and the model. Like I want it to be something fun and exciting for everybody to look forward to. And what does that look like? And how can I fit that into my budget? And how do I just make everything an experience? So these are all things that I think about all of the time. when I'm doing these numbers. I'm like, I'm literally visualizing what it would look like to be, you know, making all of these profits that I want to be making, and what does it look like for the charities that I'm helping, and what more can I do to get involved in that. Like, I like to plan, you know, maybe if my third quarter, because look, July can be a rough month. That's what I know just from being in the business. So if by chance the third quarter makes up, you know, a certain amount of money, can I do like extra donations towards certain charities or whatever the case may be? It's your time to dream, you know? That's why I like to do the year ahead as well. It's the time to dream, because you don't know what the rest of the year is going to bring yet. You don't know how profitable you're going to be yet. So that's what I've been doing, is working on all of the numbers. Today, Amber's not coming again. So she's going to work from home today. So this morning, the rest of the morning, I am actually going to be doing all of my backwards work. So I want to come up with my plan, how I'm going to accomplish these numbers, and what things I need to start doing right now to make sure that the next few months as well as next year are set up for success. So I'm going to start thinking about the foundation of all of these things. Obviously, I've already been thinking about it, but I want to lay out the foundation of all of these things and how I'm going to accomplish all of the things I want to. I have a lot of things that I've planned into the business that need some planning as well. So that's what I'm going to be looking at this morning. I definitely have client work that I need to do this afternoon, so I'm going to do that as well. But I have on this door over here, I do like a lot of planning stuff. I'm very visual, so I need all of my Post-its, and I have ways that I like to like organize in my brain. So I'm actually going to rework the whole door today, to be planning for all of the things that I have in my financial planning for the rest of this year and going into next year. So that's how I like to do it. And then from there, I'll talk it out with Amber, whatever I've got accomplished by the time I talk to her today. But I'll talk out with Amber the new direction of anything that I want to change, and she can put it into Asana, which is the project planning app that Lisa and Amber both use. I don't use it very much because my brain doesn't really like it. I'm actually surprised Amber likes it because she has ADHD as well. So I would think that she would actually feel the same that I do, but she actually really likes it. So it does make me think that I just need to like get into working in it, and maybe it'll start to make sense for me. But right now, what Asana does is it makes me feel overwhelmed at all turns. Like when I open it and it's just a list of all of these to-dos, and they're not even just mine. Like they're everybody's to. I hate it. So maybe as I get more organized and can afford to have Amber on full time and maybe have some employees, like maybe things will be easier to look at. I don't know. But right now, like my to-do list is always so big that it's really hard for me to be able to see everyone else's to-do lists and not get overwhelmed. So anyway, so as I talk to Amber, she normally puts things into Asana and gets them organized in that way. And it also gives Lisa the access to see anything that she might be involved in. So it's really good as far as working remotely. It's really important. I just can't get into it. I don't know. I need to try. I need to try harder, but I haven't so far. So anyway, so I'll be organizing the door so that I can review that with Amber. And then yeah, and then that's kind of it. That's how I do it. Like this document is the start of everything. So like I said, I will put a link in the description to a sample fake version of what I do, or the document that I use, so that you can take it and make it your own as well if you so choose. And yeah, I hope that you're having a great day. And I hope we are off to a very productive week, and I'll see you in the next one.